My name is Carolyn, and I talk to the spirit world. Travel with me to a dimension filled with love, light, and joyful surprises. Welcome to Carolyn's Psychic Playroom. Hi, everybody. Welcome to a special quarantine edition of Carolyn's Psychic Playroom. Like everybody else, I'm at home, but nonetheless, I wanted to bring the program to you. I have a wonderful interview that I had recorded earlier via Zoom with a fabulous British medium, Paula Mary, who works with pets. She's a pet psychic. She's very amazing. So that's coming a little bit later in the program. And also, as always, I'll be doing a few little mini tarot readings for you. I know that right now there's a lot of uncertainty, there's a lot of fear, there's a lot of worry. To be honest, none of us really know what's going on or how long it's going to last or whatever. But I do feel the tarot can bring us some insight and some clarity in the matter. So that's what we're going to be doing. And in fact, I think this time I'm going to start with my readings today. And then I'll move into the interview a little bit later. I'll do a couple of readings and then a couple of more. So, starting off, the first question is from SN, and she wanted to know about a connection to Lemuria. Now, for those of you who are not up on all your New Age stuff, Lemuria is an ancient, very ancient continent, and it was peopled with, or so the myth goes, very spiritual beings who were very connected with the water energy and with that kind of smooth flow versus Atlantis, which came later and which was a more mental kind of energy. So basically, she's asking about a connection to that energy. So I'm going to ask the cards and see what they have to say. Does SN have a connection to the Lemurian energy? And let's see, what does SN need to know about her connection to the Lemurian energy? So I'm shuffling my cards here, and now I'll shuffle them one more time. And here we go. Let's see. I'm going to spread them out here and pull one that calls to me. And this is interesting. This card is the light of the world. So what it says to me, SN, is that you are a person who is long in the tooth with this spiritual game. I wouldn't be a bit surprised if you had a connection to Lemuria because you've been doing this a very long time. And correct me if I'm wrong, but the Lemurians are some of the most ancient beings that came to this planet. I feel the light of the world, as you can see, you are a light worker, a light bringer. You are someone whose whole life, and not only this life, but many lifetimes, has been involved with teaching, preaching, and sharing light on the planet, and particularly light in the form of energy. I see this light of the world person here. He has his hand out in what I'm perceiving as a beneficent gesture of blessing. And I would say that you are surrounded by guides and ancestors from that period, and that if you can get quiet and maybe spend some time in meditation, you will be able actually to connect with some of the ancient wisdom that you actually developed during this period. So the short answer is yes. And of course, when one receives a realization like this, it's never about just, oh, wow, I can just kind of revel in knowing that I had this ancient connection. No, this is a connection you're meant to use here and now in your work today with the people that you work with today. If you're not a healer, I feel you are a healer actually, but if you're not, your work is healing in whatever form it takes. You are serving people, and the important thing to remember, you are the light of the world. Okay, SN, I hope that's helpful. I'm going to move to the next question, which is from VCL. And the question is, what do I see in the future for their career? So a career question. Now, as we all know, careers are in a great deal of uncertainty right now. There's a lot up in the air. But in terms of you specifically, I'm going to ask the cards what they see in terms of future for your career. And I think just looking not too far ahead, maybe in the next 3 months. Okay, so what does VCL need to know about her career in the next 3 months? And I'm shuffling the cards here. This is, as you know, my trusty Akashic Records Tarot deck. I'm going to spread it out here and randomly pull a card. Will, wisdom, and mind. So what this says to me, this is a very strong card about really unifying all your gifts. I feel that the career that you have been pursuing and the work that you've been doing has been using maybe more of the mental function and has not actually entered into dealing with the deeper wisdom that you possess. You're very smart, is my feeling, so using that mental energy is easy for you, but I feel that in future you're going to be asked to bring more of yourself to the table, and more of the self to the table in terms of your intuitive gifts, your psychic wisdom. I feel that you have it, but that you don't necessarily use it that much because you're concerned maybe what people might think on the job because you're around people with a lot of mental energy. But also, I feel that it's time for you to step up your determination a little bit to pursue the things that you know are really on your life path. I think you're very aware of what's on your life path, hence your career question, and you're hoping to be able to connect with something that is a little bit more on your life path. So my suggestion to you is that you use this kind of quarantine time and sort of downtime not to focus on feeling uncertain or fearful, but rather to focus on unifying those three aspects of yourself: your will, your determination to pursue what you know to be your life path, your very considerable intelligence, and your wisdom, meaning your spiritual connection and your intuitive gifts. Work on unifying those three. Meditate on the triangle If you take a look at this lovely picture, for example, you'll see it does form a triangle, three interlinked um, shapes that form a triangle, and just kind of begin to claim the fact that you can be a fully rounded individual instead of only just smart and hide everything else. Trust that now is the time to step forward in your full glory. And as you do that, I feel that career opportunities that are more in line with the full you will begin to manifest once all this virus business clears away. So I hope that that is helpful, BCL. As always, please write me, drop me a little message in Facebook or something, and let me know how these readings are sitting with you. Okay, and now, without further ado, I'm going to offer you this beautiful interview with my friend Paula Mary. I know you're going to love it. And then after the interview, I'm going to come back and do another couple of readings. So stay tuned. Hello, everybody. This is Carolyn Wilkins, as you know, and I am sitting here via the wonders of the internet having a lovely conversation with Paula Mary, my favorite UK psychic. And she is awesome. You're going to find out a whole lot about her in a moment. But the important thing I want to tell you about her right now that I think you're going to find interesting is that she can talk to the spirits of pets. If you lose a pet, fear not, because she can communicate with the spirits of your pets. And that's going to be the subject that we're going to be talking about today. So welcome, Paula. Welcome to Carolyn's Psychic Playroom.
Oh, hello, Carolyn. Thank you so much for having me on your show. It's so lovely to be here.
Oh, well, it's an honor, and I really appreciate your coming on to join me. So tell me a little bit. I tend to ask, I often have psychics, mediums, those kind of people on the program. How did you get started with your psychic work? Did you always know that you were a psychic?
Absolutely, Carolyn. I think I was born psychic. Very early on, about 4, I had this experience out in the garden. I was playing with my elder sister and I tripped over and I fell in like the flower beds, and I sort of got a bit dazed, and as I looked up, I didn't quite know what they were, but I am assuming they were fairies and I could see them everywhere. And then that journey started for me, and then at 6 I could see other energies on people, so I could see that they had an angel. I could see angels. And then when I got a bit older, I could see more maybe darker energies as well. So it's sort of, I can really sort of tap in to someone's energy and see what's going on for their auric field. But at the time, obviously being younger, I wasn't sure what was happening, but I spent a lot of the time talking to the fairies in my early years, and then I worked up in the city when I was 16, and I was a typist, and they had this event, and they had a psychic there, and she just called me over. It was really bizarre, and she said, "You have the gift." It was literally like that. "I want to work with you." And it was really just like that. And then I started going up and doing tea and coffee readings with her in shopping centres. And do you know what? I love that. I love the old fortune telling style of things. And it just sort of became very, very natural to me.
Wow. So really your whole life, you have never doubted that you had a psychic gift, and you always felt that this was your purpose and your calling to use this gift, right?
Absolutely. About 11, I just felt a friend of mine, she fell over and her leg was swollen. I put my hand on her leg, and it just, the swelling disappeared. I mean, although she called me weird, I knew then that I had to go into this line of work. It's a passion. When I'm tuned into the spirit world, I feel so enlightened. I feel so blessed to be able to communicate. And yes, it's always been there.
That's
And I find
beautiful.
it different in the physical world, as it sense. I much prefer it when
Yeah.
I'm tuned in.
I think many of us would agree with you with that. There's something really special and magical about the peace of the
Yeah.
spirit world. But this kind of leads on to my next question, which is, I know that you do many things and you do healing. And by the way, you have a wonderful radio program. We're going to talk about that later. But what I want to talk about now is this gift of healing and this ability to communicate with all different kinds of energies, incarnate and discarnate. I'd like for you to talk a little bit about your work as a pet psychic. Is that even the proper way to call you?
Yeah, yes. I mean, I've been called lots of things. I've been called a pet detective. I've been called the pet healer, the pet psychic surgeon. I've been called as well. The journey started when I went to the Federation of Spiritual Healers, and I trained as a healer in my early 20s. And the very first job I got was 2 boy pugs. They were puppies. And as I walked in the door, the mother was saying that she needed them to be calm. They were in one bed. And there was a more of a dominant one that was a bit more bold and squashing the other one. And as I was talking to the mother, I heard this voice, and it said, "I don't like him. He's chewing my feet." And I'm like, and I went, and I just double taked. And I'm like, where did that come from? Because at that time, I didn't know I was an animal communicator. And I just said in my mind, it's okay. I'm going to ask the owner to get another bed, and I'm going to talk to her. And he said, thank you. And I was like, wow. And that was my first ever experience. I mean, it's taken off since then. I was very early in my 20s. So it's grown, and I've developed it, gone on training, and I'm much more sort of in the zone with it now. Because, but yes, very naturally. And at that particular time then, I'm thinking, oh my goodness. So I'm thinking, who can talk to me then? And I was trying to talk to all the birds and the and the seagulls just to see, and they did talk back to me.
Of course they did. Of course they did. And I know many of us talk to our plants, our pets. We talk to trees. We talk, but still, I think there is pushback and resistance from people who will say, for example, in this case, well, a dog can't talk. Dogs don't talk. How do you know you didn't make that up? So how do you sort of address this kind of critic?
Well, first of all, I connect through doing animal communication through my mediumship. So I make sure that I have a channel, and that channel is open to my guides, and they will bring down. Also with the pet, you have to actually sort of make sure you're in their energy zone, and you actually then your energies go over to the animal. And then you're connecting on a soul to soul, really. You're connecting to the animal soul, and you're picking up the vibration. Very easily, I could see if they were unhappy. Now, if a communication can be difficult, because if the pet is unwell, or say an animal, a dog has been lost in the woods, they're in fear. They've been frightened. It's not quite as simple just to tap in and get a communication. What I do as a healer, I'd bring their energies in. I would comfort them, and I would give them healing to calm them down so
Wow.
that they'll be able to have a communication. So it's not just as simple as I'm going to tap into you. If they're very spiritual themselves, they'll come straight away. If they're feeling ill, you have to work with their energies to build them up to get a communication.
Right.
And then your energies are on their soul, and you're tapping in to their thoughts, really. But because pets show their energy vibration, you're tapping into their energy vibration, and you can feel straight away that there might be something wrong, or they want to talk to you. But I use my mediumship to talk to them.
Yes. Oh, that makes a lot of sense. So this is fascinating, and I hope that those of you out there in the psychic playroom are listening. I know many of us have pets. Pets get sick, they die, they have issues.
Yes.
And Paula Mary is the one who can help. Now, you're located in the UK. Is it
Yes.
possible to connect with you? Like, say, I don't have a dog, but if I did, and if he was sick, could I
yes.
bring him here to the Zoom or something, and you could work on him that way?
Absolutely. I have a lot of clients in America and Australia, and I do distant healing on the animal, and I do psychic surgery. As long as I've got a connection, as long as I know the name, I can tap in. I've often found cats as well that have been abroad, and as long as I know the location, the timing of when they disappeared, and how I work if a pet's missing, I actually communicate with the pet. I actually communicate with the pet and not pick up what information I can get. I go straight to the pet, and the pet tells me where they might be. Yes, but I'm over in Bexhill-on-Sea, but I do, every month I go over to Brittany. I have a home farmhouse in Brittany where I run healing retreats.
Wow.
So I go backwards and forwards from Brittany to Bexhill-on-Sea in East Sussex.
That is fabulous. Now, do you also teach people how to do this work?
Yes, I teach animal communication.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so if you were interested, if someone were interested in studying with you or receiving a healing from you, either for themselves or for an animal, what is the best way for them to reach you?
Well, in 1999, I set up a company called the Psychic Clinic, and I used to do holistic fairs. I have a team with me, and I still do that. I have a couple of Reiki masters working alongside me, as well as a reader. So they can find me under thepsychicclinic.com.
The Psychic Clinic, and that's all one word, THEPSYCHIC
Clinic, thepsychicclinic.com.
.com. Wow. Well, this 10 minutes went like this, and I have about 5 trillion more questions that I want to ask you, and I know that our listeners also want to ask you. So what we're going to do as soon as we finish this call, maybe we can make a date for another time for you to come back and talk some more, because this is fascinating stuff. And in this time of so many people, I just brought through a dog just a few days ago, and I rarely do pets, but this woman had such a strong need to hear from the dog, and the dog had such a strong need that I was able to bring a message. But it really brought home to me how important it is to be able to bring the pets of our lives forward, because they love us, they care for us, and they continue to love us. Am I not right? From the other side.
Absolutely, and I love what I find it very rewarding. I do feel it's sad, but I feel when a pet goes over, it helps so much for the people that have lost their pet, and I do that quite a lot, and it is hard, but at the same time, it does help the grief. It does help,
It
definitely.
totally helps. I could see that it helps, and assumably it also helps the pet on the other
Yes.
side to know that their loved one is going to be okay and knows that they are alive and well.
Yes.
Paula Mary, I am so happy that you took a few minutes out of your evening to stop by the Psychic Playroom. You will definitely be back. Tell us once again the name of your website, and and on the website you have information about your radio program as well, right?
Yes, absolutely. The website again is the psychicclinic.com. The radio show is pulsetalkradio.com, and the show is Spiritual Surgery. It's a development show, and it's about debating techniques, spiritual guests, authors, and wonderful guests as you, Carolyn. And you're coming back too as well.
Oh, we have a thing going. I'm super happy that we connected. I'm really appreciative. So I'm gonna let you go for now. But everybody, this is Paula Mary. She will be back. If you're interested in reaching her, you know how to find her, thepsychicclinic.com. And we will meet again soon. Thank you so much for coming.
Oh, thank you, Carolyn. Thank you so much. Good night.
Good night. Didn't you enjoy that lovely interview? Paula Mary. I hope that you will reach out to her. She's a wonderful, warm person. She's a fabulous psychic and a medium. And if you, especially if you love animals, or you have a sick pet, or a pet who has passed recently, she can really help you to heal from the grief and the loss. So I'm going to now roll into doing a couple of more readings. We have just a couple of minutes left in the program, but I want to squeeze in another couple. This next question comes from CR, and the question is, should I keep my office or work from home? And she does point out that, of course, we're all working from home these days. So this, I'm assuming, question refers to after all of the virus drama clears away, is there a need for an office, or would CR be better off working from home? So I'm going to shuffle the cards and ask the cards, what does CR need to know about her office right now? What does she need to know about her office? And I'm shuffling. Let's go ahead and spread the cards out a little bit. And I'll just pick one. All right. So this card is the Ark of the Covenant. Now, in this case, I believe that the Ark of the Covenant refers to contracts. And I don't know whether you have signed a contract for your current space. If you have signed the contract, this card indicates that you should hold to the contract, that there's some advantage to staying there, to having a stable brick and mortar place, that the contract that you have made with the landlord, or whatever it may be in this case, should not be broken. If you're about to sign a contract, or you're thinking of signing one, keep in mind that it will be a permanent thing, and you are a person who holds to commitments. You're not a fly-by-night person. You're a person who holds to things. If you commit to something, you tend to stick with it. So my feeling is that you have already made, and you can write me, message me. I always love to know how these readings sit with you, but my sense is that you already have a commitment in place that you have made about an office space, and that you should hold to that commitment for now, at least until the contract is up, and then reevaluate. Now, with all this virus stuff and all that's going on, the world is in a very disrupted state right now. And it may be that the contract that you originally signed or the agreement that you originally made will no longer feel good for you. And you will know that intuitively. But my sense for now is not to worry about trying to break it or change it. Allow the virus to run its course, let the contract run its course, and then reevaluate. So I hope that's helpful, CR. And as I say, please drop me a message in Facebook. You can always friend me, Carolyn Wilkins, friend me on Facebook, and send me a little message and let me know how that works out for you. Last one that I'm going to answer today is from JL. And once again, this is another area of insecurity, which is JL writes about graduating from school. JL is scheduled to graduate, and she's trying to decide whether she should stay on an extra semester to work on a new project, or whether she should move to the next stage, i.e. graduate school, as soon as possible. So I'm going to ask the cards, what does JL need to know about her next steps at the end of this semester? What does JL need to know? And I'm going to shuffle a little bit. And I'm going to kind of spread it out. One just kind of came up. The Divine Physician. Now that just popped up. So what does that say to me? That says, for the moment, I feel that you should stay where you are and work on yourself. Work on building your confidence. Work on keeping your health. This is speaking to possibly an underlying health condition of some kind. I don't know if you've been feeling maybe weak or tired, maybe just typical student stress end of semester. But this message is saying take care of yourself and allow yourself to fully heal before you move on to the next stage in your life. I don't feel a frantic rush for you to leap into grad school at this point, unless there are some kind of visa considerations or something like that. If you can take an extra semester to solidify the gains that you have made, and I'm not only talking about academically, I'm talking about just life gains that you have made in terms of confidence, in terms of feeling good about yourself, and lastly, resting in a familiar environment before throwing yourself into a whole new, very stressful situation. So those are my thoughts. Those are my readings. I hope that you've enjoyed the Psychic Playroom this month. Next month, I'll be back again. Who knows whether I'll be doing it from home or what's going on. But one way or another, I will make sure that this reaches you. I give you all my love, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.
Thoughts are things with the energy to make life better for you and for me. Touch the light.